We got a Honda in the shop that's in need of some help. Let's check it out, see what we can do. This is what we're working on today, a 2000 Honda Civic. Some of you might recognize this. I've put a couple of head gaskets in this thing and done quite a few videos on it. She's definitely seen better days. It looks like it's been in a demolition derby. And it was actually worse. I'll show you some pictures before, but it was actually smashed up, crinkled up a little bit more. But we're missing the mirrors on both sides. Not really sure what happened. Supposedly they got side swiped, you know, and this mirror got knocked off. I don't know. Obviously we got smashed in the front end, and yeah, this mirror's MIA. Well, actually, there it is right there. Our window regulator has seen better days, and this one is hanging on for dear life. It won't quite roll all the way up. It just kind of wants to go back down. I don't know if somebody like tried to steal the hubcaps or something. This thing did get towed and was in the impound for like a week or two, and so who knows what was going on there. But I guess Uncle Dave is gonna step in and help fix it again, against my better judgment. But it was causing my mother-in-law, grandma, a bunch of stress, and I don't want her stressed out, so that's why I'm gonna fix it for him. So yeah, Uncle Dave's paying for this, so we're doing it on a budget. Aside from the window not rolling up and not being weather tight, the brunt of the damage was right here. Apparently, I don't know what happened. There was a delivery truck that had the ramp down, or maybe a lift gate was down. I'm not too sure, but they were pulling into a convenience store and hit the ramp on that delivery truck, and that's what pushed everything in. And I think I have a picture here. Hang on. Well, if we can't see that, I'll actually embed it into the video. But that's what it looked like. You can see the front end was really crinkled up and everything was pushed back. And if you look closely, I didn't take a great picture of it, but that's this piece right here. You can see it's all the way against the bottle there for the power steering, and it's all the way smashed against our power steering pump. And so yeah, it was rubbing. I don't know if you can see where it was rubbing in there. You can see the damage it did to the belt. Luckily the belt stayed on and didn't come off. But yeah, this definitely got smashed way over. And then I looked over here and I saw our AC condenser is bent pretty darn good. Let's see, I think I have another photo. So you can see, well, hopefully you can see the bracket right there. Right here, it wasn't even on the fan. You can see that it was bent pretty good past that fan. So yeah, it was way over here. And I noticed that this was the fan and everything was smashed up against our oxygen sensor and actually cut the wire, at least one of them, right at the sensor. So it has to be replaced. And so I just, you know, took a really big pry bar, and I mean, I'm doing this in 100-degree heat out on the side of the road, but I bent everything back. Now after the accident, where this accident right here, where it got smashed in, the owner drove it for like a week or two until it didn't drive anymore. It just quit, died on him on the side of the road. And I think pushing it off the road, I think that's where they made contact with something and knocked that mirror off. I don't know, but allegedly that's what happened. So obviously I didn't know why it quit. All I knew is it's not running and we have absolutely zero power. When I, you know, tested the battery, no lights on, anything, the battery was at 0 volts. So, and I couldn't even get it to come back on. I mean, that battery was totally shot. So I pried everything off back here. I unplugged our oxygen sensor, and then put another battery. That's a spare battery that I had that I threw in there, and it cranked up. Miraculously, it actually ran. Now we had some bunch of check engine codes in there. Obviously I knew we were going to have one for our oxygen sensor, and so I wasn't surprised we had a couple codes for an oxygen sensor. But we also had a code for a transmission solenoid and an ELD, electric load detector code. And so I was like, okay, we got some kind of electrical issue. And I was like, well, we got a wire here, and most likely it was touching the metal right here, and so I suspected we probably have some blown fuses. So I didn't have a wiring diagram or anything. I brought a test light and a pry bar, and that's how I got this thing going, and a little code reader. And so I just went through all the fuses to see if I can find any that were blown, because once I got it running, I had only battery voltage on the battery. It was not charging, so we were not putting out from the alternator. And so instead of trying to diagnose the alternator, I'm like, okay, most likely that touched and blew a fuse somewhere, so we need to find that. So I went through all the fuses there, couldn't find anything, went through the fuses underneath, and I found one. Strangely enough, it was for the alternator. Who knew? But I threw that one in. I got a new fuse, put that one in, then bang, it started charging right away. So then I was able to at least drive it, and I drove it. It took me about 30 minutes to get it over to the shop, and it drove fine. Luckily, without these oxygen sensors plugged in, they have a pretty good backup strategy where it was running just fine. Now we had the check engine light, and I did clear the codes, and everything went away except for our oxygen sensor code, so that was good. So the code for the transmission solenoid, our ELD code, did not come back after a half-hour drive. So pretty confident that, you know, we just need a few parts to get this thing going. Now we're not making it pretty. We're not fixing the hood. We're not replacing it. This thing is still bent out of shape. I did buy a headlight, but you know, I don't straighten out body frames and things like this, so I don't know if we're going to get a new headlight in, but I'm hoping that we can get one in. We're not doing anything with the AC. Miraculously enough, the AC still works. It's not leaking. I can't believe that. I got to be careful about bending things anymore, because then the hood won't latch. I had a heck of a time once I bent everything. Then I had to re-bend the hood to get the hood to latch and hold down. And so that's the only thing. I mean, I don't do body work, and that's why I didn't want to do anything with this car. This car actually sat for a few weeks, and I didn't want to touch it because I didn't want to deal with this stuff. But like I said, we don't want to cause Grandma any stress, and so that's why we're fixing it. So I did get a new headlight. Of course, I got a new belt. I got a new oxygen sensor. I do have a new battery, so we'll put a new battery in. I have 2 new side mirrors, so we can be legal driving down the road and actually be able to see. It's no fun. I don't know how many times I looked for the rear view mirrors when I was driving this thing home and I couldn't get them. And we have 2 new window regulators. And I noticed that the door locks on that side weren't working in the driver's door, so I did get a door lock actuator. I don't know if that is actually the problem, but it was only 10 bucks, so I threw that in there, and if it fixes it, great. If it doesn't, well, I only spent 10 bucks. And there's our parts, and like I said, we're doing this on the cheap. So Rock Auto to the rescue. I just ordered basically the cheapest stuff they had out of everything. So we got 2 window regulators, 2 rear view mirrors, a headlight. Of course, at least, you know, we got a good quality Bando belt, a couple of new headlights, and miraculously enough, that headlight over there actually still works. Here's the door lock actuator, and I did splurge and get an NTK O2 sensor, which is actually what's in there right now. But we'll at least, we paid a couple more dollars for that one. That's the only thing we splurged on. I couldn't bring the old battery back to life, but it was only like 6 or 8 months old, and so luckily, because it was still under warranty, I was able to warranty it out. Only had to pay a few bucks for a brand new one, so at least we saved some money there. So Uncle Dave spent $252.04 for all these parts, and another $29 to warranty out the battery. New battery installed. Definitely got chewed up a bit. Always fun dealing with some of these Honda belts. Now that stuff should fix us under the hood. Let's go ahead and clear the codes. We'll fire it up and see how it runs, make sure no codes come back. Actually, because we changed out the battery, that probably erased any codes that were in there. But we'll fire up this, if I can find the data link connector. We'll fire up the little code reader and see. Okay, no codes, that's good. Let's fire it up, see how it runs. Well, check engine light didn't come back on right away, so that's good. Well, considering everything this engine's been through, sounds pretty good. And still no check engine light, so that's good. Still no codes. Alright, so I think we fixed the check engine light problems. Now we'll see if we can get these mirrors fixed. Definitely looks like that's bent right here, so hopefully it'll come off when we get the new one on. This one looks less bent and more just sheared right off. Let's see if we can not drop these down. Oh, that was so close. I probably should go get a magnet. This side got a little bent up. See if we can tap it straight. Yeah, that feels pretty good. Well, by hammering it back flat, at least this one went in okay. These cheapo aftermarket things never line up. We'll just do our best. Well, they're not OEM quality, but they're mirrors. I suppose we should see if they work electrically. Alright, passenger one, up, down, right, left. That one works. Alright, how about the driver's one? Let's go up, down, left, right. Alright, it works. Yeah, I guess we should see if we can fix this so we can at least park it outside. We can see how this window regulator failed. This little plastic bushing right here, you can see how it's deformed and it's got a crack right there. It rides in this track and just falls right out, and then the window just goes all the way down to the bottom. We had a casualty. Our door handle rod, that little clip right there that holds the rod in place, broke. So let's see if we can get another one. I usually keep a few of these, and you see them right here. Wait, is that one blue? Is that one blue? Sure looks like blue. I wonder if this is it. It has to be the same size right here, so it has to fit in here okay. And that looks like it'll work. I'm not going to snap it in, but more importantly, the rod has to fit because they make different size rods. Let's go see if the rod drops in here. Turn it to drop it down in the door panel. Oh, look at that, it fits. Oh, did we get lucky. And now that we know it fits the rod, look at that, dropped in there, fits like a glove. Do we dare get in and see if it works? Well, I guess we'll go ahead and replace this window regulator too. Yay, I didn't break this one. Well, it appears that it actually bent the window run channel, and maybe our whole problem why this thing won't go up all the way. I thought it was a bad regulator. Of course, I wasn't really diagnosing it. I was just trying to get this thing home and ordered a bunch of parts. But yeah, this may be why it was really struggling to go up at the top. I thought one of the cables were a little loose. Well, let's see if we can straighten this out, because the window is really binding when I pull it up here by hand. When I just bring it up here, as soon as it hits this piece, you can see that it's bent in. It definitely starts grabbing it and then it won't let go. Well, let that be a lesson. This mirror, when it bent in, it bent our window run channel here, squeezed it in, and it was stopping it not only here but right up here. So in 2 points it was stopping our window from going all the way up, and that's going to put a lot of strain on the motor. So now if we look, you can see this thing glides up and down really smooth. So we could probably just leave that window regulator in place, but I'm already this far. The window regulator was 30 bucks. We're just going to go ahead and put the new one in. Apparently it couldn't handle the window regulator. Luckily I got a backup. There's our old window regulator. You can see it's good we're replacing it, because this is broke. This spring should be compressed and look like that, but it's already starting to break, so it wouldn't have been long before this cable unraveled and the window would have fell down. And we could see on our new one, the springs and connections right here are nice and tight. Oh, aftermarket parts, how you disappoint me. Here's our window regulator we just took out. This is aftermarket. You can see it's got studs with nuts right here. Well, our mounting attachments on this one are like the original equipment ones where we need bolts, so hopefully I have some bolts sitting around that'll fit this. This is my bag of Honda nuts and bolts. I got a decent collection. These are all just for Hondas. Yeah, let's see. This is what I'm looking for. Okay, this one came out of the window regulator. These 3 came out of the bag of goodies. They're the same size. We should be good to go. This headlight assembly is a can of worms I really don't want to open up, but I guess we're going to do it anyway. Looking at our new headlight assembly, it looks like it's good to go. This one doesn't come with bulbs, so I did buy some brand new headlight bulbs. Even though this one does work, I did test it, the bulb actually lights up, so the integrity of the circuit and wiring and everything is good. But we'll go ahead and replace both of the headlight bulbs. I will reuse the marker light though. Definitely sketchy. Don't try this at home. Well, that one's pretty close to being lined up. That one not so much, and I was worried about this one. Now let's see. That one, oh, that's pretty much right there. And how about over here? I don't know if you can see it, but that one looks lined up. Alright, well, 3 out of 4 ain't bad. I suppose I could try to bend this a little bit, or we can just go with 3 bolts. What do you think? Okay, headlights in. I made a command decision. We're leaving that bolt out. I have to tweak this too much to try to get it into place, and I don't want to move it anymore. And if it's not perfect, we're going to snap this off anyway. So we're just going to leave it. 3 bolts is plenty secure. That thing is not going anywhere. Plus, when I had to bend this back to get the car running, you know, I screwed up where the hood latches on there, and I had to really tweak and mess with things and bend the hood to get it to relatch. And I probably screwed that up, and I'm gonna have to fix that right now. So I don't want to bend it anymore and risk not being able to close this hood. So we're gonna go with this. Well, that's about as good as I'm going to get it without actually doing body work and straightening it out like it's supposed to be. I was able to get these 3 clips in. I believe these 3 were already in, and these were all missing or broken. But these were broken too, so they're all new all the way across, except for right here. That's way too far off, and I'll end up breaking the bumper cover if we try to get that one in, because this is sunk down still just a little bit. I was able to raise it up quite a bit and able to pin this down so it's secure, but it's still down just a hair. And of course, you know, everything's still tweaked in just a bit, so we're off by a little bit, but that's the way it's going to be. It's either that or no headlight, so at least we got a headlight in there. It's secure, it's not going anywhere. Now hopefully we can get the hood to shut. And looking at this, we can see that it's bent in just a little bit, which it's better to be bent in a little bit and the beam of light come this way rather than bent out, and now we're blinding traffic. So if it's going to be bent one way or the other, I'd rather have it in. Now, we're not aligned anymore. It latches, so we could be safe, but before I was able to get it to latch all the way down. Well, it works. Okay, ready for the big reveal? There you go. Wow. Well, it still looks like it was in a demolition derby, but at least the hood works, the light works, and I was able to bend it down so we're kind of where it was. You know, it's not sticking way up in the air, and more importantly, everything works. Yeah, this one's a little yellow compared to the brand new one, but what can you do? I mean, I suppose we could have replaced that one, but hey, we're on a budget. We're just trying to get this thing safe and running. We're not trying to win any beauty contest. And looking at our condenser, which is bent way over, but apparently still working. Want to make sure that this fan is not hitting it. And it's not. Looks like we still got plenty of room. Okay, good. Got the AC on, just checking, see if this AC condenser fan is running, and hopefully you can tell it is running. It's not hitting our condenser, and it's actually working, so we're going to leave it alone. I went ahead, sanded the headlight, put a little bit of clear coat on there. It looks much better than it did. Not exactly like our brand new one, but not too bad. I checked the door lock actuator. It's working fine, so we're just going to leave that alone. I'm not going to mess with it. I did check all the fluids. Everything looks good. Air filter is still like brand new. I will go ahead and give this thing an oil change, and I think we'll take it on a test drive and then ship it. Here's our pile of old parts. And looking at this window regulator, I'm glad we went ahead and replaced it, because once these springs break and come apart like that, it's not long until this cable comes out of the motor. So I'm glad we went ahead and fixed it. Upon closer inspection of our hubcap, the reason it was bowed out is obviously something hit it, and this was actually pinned up under the rim. So once I pulled it out from under the rim, this kind of straightened out. Same thing with the back tire. But then I noticed right here that our sidewall is sliced in a couple areas. And so I can't in good conscience give the car back to them, knowing they don't have money to replace it. So it looks like Uncle Dave is going to be buying at least one tire. Alright, we got the tire issue fixed. We got a brand new tire. Now that's not it, but discount tire was nice enough to warrant the old one, so Uncle Dave only had to pay $18.93 for the new tire. Now this tire back here was only 2 or 3 months old, so it's pretty much brand new. Still had all the tread left. And so what we did is we put the brand new tire, so this is the brand new one, we put it back here. So both of these tires in the rear are brand new, and the 2 tires up front are serviceable. I don't like just buying one new tire, but because the other tire was brand new, I don't mind doing it and keeping the pairs back here, so at least it's safe and it's fixed. Alright, now because the battery was dead, we're going to relearn the idle. On this vehicle, we don't have to reset anything. In fact, everything was reset when that battery was completely dead. But we just need to let the vehicle completely warm up until the cooling fan comes on this model, because the radiator is here and the condenser for the AC is over here. We only have one fan that's going to come on, so we wait for that fan to come on. Once it comes on, we'll know it's fully warmed up, and then we just let it sit and idle for 5 minutes with no loads on there, and that relearns the idle on these old Hondas. While the vehicle's warming up, now's a good time. Let's recheck our charging system and make sure any issues have not returned. Obviously, when I first diagnosed it, the vehicle was not charging, and I figured out that it was a blown fuse, and so we want to make sure that issue has not come back. I do want to point out that when that happened, the battery light was not lit up, so it wasn't charging, but there was no battery light on the dash. And of course, we don't have any lights on the dash right now, but that obviously doesn't mean anything. We could still have an issue, so let's check that real quick. Alright, got the leads hooked up to the battery. Looks like we're sitting at a little over 14 volts, so our issue has not returned. I went ahead, turned the headlights on to put a load on the system. Our fan is going right now. We can see we're at 13.8, 13.79 volts. So at an idle with loads on it, that's just fine. Nothing wrong with this charging system. Now, whenever we're relearning the idle on a Honda, of course, we don't want to include the time that that fan comes on. And there should be no other loads on the system. So whenever that comes on, that's a load on the system, so we don't include that time. You know, and you're supposed to go for 5 minutes. Typically, you know, the fans are coming on and off. I just let it go 10 minutes, and then I don't have to worry and sit there and do any calculations. Alright, idle relearn is done. It's idling perfect. Now that the vehicle is safe and operational, let's go take it for a test drive. Alright, no lights on the dash. That's good. AC's nice and cold. We'll go ahead and see how our emission monitors are going. Make sure it doesn't show any pending codes. Man, look at that. Just going and driving it and getting the tire. Everything went ahead and completed except for our evap, so I'm not worried about that. If an evap code comes up, we'll deal with that later, but right now it's looking good. No DTCs, no pending DTCs, and all these have already completed, so that's good. Well, this thing's driving nice and smooth. No issues, no lights on, AC's working. I think this little Civic's gonna live to see another day. Well, that's it for this one. The job on this one obviously was to make it run and to make it safe, and I think we accomplished that. Yeah, it's not going to win any beauty contests up here, but it's drivable and it's reliable. The thing starts and runs every time, and there's no check engine lights. So in that aspect, I think this is going to be a win. This vehicle is going to live to see another day. I mean, just about a week or week and a half ago, this thing was scheduled for the junkyard. So at least as of today, it's not going to the junkyard. And as always, if the video helped you out, you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.